Hey, welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming Geek. And everybody is pretty much familiar with comic book characters now because they're really into the mainstream. I think ever since Batman, the movie came out in 1989, it kind of started popularizing comic books. And comic books have been around for a long time, but they really never. I don't think they never really caught on to the mainstream, other than young teenage boys. But now comic books are everywhere. There's some of the highest grossing films of all time, and there's countless properties related to comic books. However, you know, comic books have always had their popularity, although not as big as they are now. So because of that, a lot of things have been made to make money out of those. And one of the things definitely is video games. And as far as I remember, one of the I guess most popular characters to make video games out of was Spider-Man. And here we have Spider-Man the video game, which is actually made by Sega. And here you actually get to choose from four characters: Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Black Cat, or the Submariner. And since we're playing Spider-Man, let's go ahead and play Spider-Man. And what Sega tried to do in this game was try to make it like a comic book. So you go chapter by chapter, like a comic book strip. So you're not really sure what's going on, but just like a comic book, you kind of have to play through the whole thing to kind of figure out what's going on. And for all intents and purposes, this is just really a simple beat 'em up. And if you've played Double Dragon or more recently, I guess during around this time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you may be very familiar with this. And there really isn't too much left of the plot other than the fact that Spider-Man or whichever of the characters, you're getting to fight some of the most famous villains that he has. I think if you saw Scorpion at the beginning, and so what I like that Sega did with this, and this one I think came out like in the 90s, 1991, if I'm not mistaken. Sega did a really amazing job with the graphics. I mean, if you were to imagine how a comic book game should look like, this would be it. I mean, this really looks incredibly good. And I like the fact that whenever you're punching them or smacking them, they'll have little captions, like that. There you go, Vok, or right there where he's talking, just like you would in the comic books. So I can't really knock Sega for the graphics and sound in this game because they are pretty incredible, and they try to stay as close and true as possible to the comic book series. And here, right off the bat, we have Scorpion. Now we have Venom. So this is just stage one. So it was really cool that Sega was able to incorporate this. Now, here in a minute, you're gonna see something else that Sega tried to do. Let me go ahead and beat him up. That they try to make this a little different. Um, well, I guess you kind of have to see it, but at a certain point, the game goes from a zoomed in view like this to a zoomed out view. So instead of just a strict fighting game, it kind of like becomes a side scroller, which was, I guess, pretty unique at the time, especially for an arcade game. So unfortunately, I have to beat him up first to get to the next level or the next part of the stage. Now, although I really love the graphics, I mean, I really love the presentation. The gameplay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, even though beat 'em ups are fairly simple anyway, this was a pretty boring game to me. And the reason why I say that, there's not a lot of variety. The characters are, the enemy characters, I'm sorry, they're pretty much all the same. They just have different colors. So that's not a lot of variety there. And your environments, even though they look great, they're not really varied. They're not like multi-level environments, and you don't have a lot of objects you can pick up to throw. So I wish there was more variety, and Sega tried to do that, but I think they could have done better. I think most of their time was spent on making it look cool, which it does. So as you can see, I'm kind of like in a side scroller right now, and there's Venom again. So this game was pretty fun. Sega did release it on the Genesis. However, it really was just strictly a side scroller, so it was nothing like the arcade, especially in terms of graphics. I don't think the Genesis could have hoped to even come close to matching the graphics on the arcade. So overall, I found this game lacking in terms of fun. It was really boring, in my opinion. But the presentation is awesome, and what they were able to do with graphics at this time, I found this really impressive. But other than that, that is the review for Spider-Man the video game. And as always, if you had any other games that you wanted me to review, please leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you in the next episode of Retro Gaming Geek.